This podcast has been brought to you by SeekersGuidance, the global Islamic seminary. Help us spread the light of prophetic guidance to millions around the world by becoming a monthly supporter. Make a small donation at SeekersGuidance.org/donate. For as little as $10 a month, you can help people find life-changing guidance.
La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.
Is it better for me to rush to complete the Qur'an in Ramadan or to reflect? So this falls under the door of the nafil, and the door of the nafil of the voluntary acts is vast and wide. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a lot of leeway with respect to voluntary actions. So it is recommended to make ikthar min at-tilawa, to recite a lot of Qur'an. But the sunnah of recitation is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Qur'an, وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا. Recite the Qur'an in a steady, measured pace. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَا تُحَرِّكْ بِهِ لِسَانَكَ لِتَعْجَلَ بِهِ. Do not move your tongue fast with it so that you can be hasty with it. Right? So recite an amount that you can recite at a dignified pace. So you give, at least, even when you recite quickly, you might not do all the rules of tajweed if you know proper recitation, but you do the basic rules of tajweed, which is يعني تصحيح الحروف, right? وأداء المدود, right? Then you recite the letters properly and you do the basic mudud, the basic elongations. So if you can do that, then how much you recite, the door's open. One should have some amount of just devotional recitation and some amount of reflection. The mix that you choose is really up to you. But there is a devotional benefit in ikthar, in reciting a quantity of Qur'an, and it's also, there's great benefit in a reflective recitation. Some of the Salaf, some of the early Muslims, it's related that they used to have 3 types of khatam of the Qur'an. One khatam, they do one complete recitation of the Qur'an. This would be their devotional recitation. The devotional recitation, you read it at a steady pace with attention, attentively. A second khatam would be their khatam for understanding. The khatam of understanding, they would pause things that are not clear. So that would be a khatam that you're doing, and you dip into the tafsir, for example, here and there, right? And that's why you find many copies of the mushaf of the Qur'an that have tafsir in the margin, a mid-sized tafsir. So there you recite from the text of the Qur'an. This can also be done with a translation, right? That you can get copies of, for example, Professor Muhammad Abdul Halim's translation. We have the full mushaf in the middle, and the margins you have the translation. And that's useful. So you read the khatam, you may read less of that. That's the second type of recitation, the recitation with some effort to understand. Whether you read all the translation or you read parts of the translation, that's a second type of recitation. It's good to have a khatam related to that. A third is a journey of a lifetime, which is to recite the Qur'an with deep reflection. And they say many of the great tafasir, many of the great exegeses of the Qur'an were the result of a lifetime of reflection from some of the great scholars. Right? Some of them actually didn't. They were great scholars. Like there's one of the great Ottoman scholars, and arguably there's a lot of competition. One of the greatest Shaykh al-Islams of the Ottoman Empire, Abu Sa'ud al-Imadi, Shaykh al-Islam Abu Saud al-Imadi. He was the Shaykh al-Islam of the Ottoman Empire in its heyday, and one of the longest serving Shaykh al-Islams, and him and Ibn Kamal Basha are two of the greatest of the Ottoman scholars. But he didn't author any books, except for one book. And he used to give hundreds of fatwas a day. He issued edicts, and they're compiled, but he didn't write many books. But he wrote his tafsir. And the Ottomans would refer to him as Khatibul Mufassirin, the spokesman of the people of tafsir. Radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And this is a common phenomenon. So there's different levels of recitation. But get recitation going in your life. Right? That's the practice. Don't complicate. Sometimes we sit and theorize. Should we do A or should we do B? Let me think about it. No. They say one of the tricks of the shaitan is that when you decide to do something good, he'll come to you in the guise of the philosopher. So how should I do this? Should I do it this way or that way? So they say when you get an urge to do the good, do the immediate good that occurs to you. That is not excessive. Right? So for example, you see a beggar and you get an urge, okay, I'll give him $1. Give them $1. The shaitan said, well, why don't you give him 20? Because he looks really down and out. And then you get other ideas. Maybe I should give it to the masjid instead. Anytime you get an inclination to do the good, do some of it. Right? And this is one of the things in the Qur'an of rushing to the good. So if you get to think, I should recite more Qur'an, first thing to do, open the Qur'an and recite, you just do a page, do a few verses. So you make the habit of, when you get the warid al-khair, when you get the call to do some good, do it. Right? So you get the thought, I think I should do more nafil prayer, more extra prayers in my life. Don't keep it theoretical. Say, yes, go pray 2 rakahs, even if they're brief, and that becomes a good habit. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you for listening. This podcast was brought to you by Seekers Guidance, the Global Islamic Seminary. Visit SeekersGuidance.org to access reliable Islamic knowledge taught by qualified teachers. We offer a wide range of courses, podcasts, articles, and a world-class answer service. Support us in spreading free, reliable Islamic knowledge to millions around the world by becoming a monthly supporter. Visit SeekersGuidance.org/donate and make a small monthly commitment today. Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever guides someone to goodness will have a similar reward." So don't forget to share this podcast and spread prophetic guidance.